What's up, peoples? I am DDay, and today we're going to be unboxing this PlayStation VR bundle right here. I am super late to the VR party. This is actually my first VR headset ever. I had never actually even tried one on, but I was visiting my family over the Thanksgiving holiday, got to go over to my brother's house and play around with his PSVR, and immediately was like, I gotta get me one of those. So, went ahead and picked up this bundle. Also decided I wanted to get one of those aim controllers, so picked up this Firewall 0 hour bundle right here. So I guess we'll be unboxing both of them today. All right, let's get to it. Okay, so as you can see, this is one of the new PlayStation VR bundles. There's actually two of them floating around right now. This is the more expensive of the two, and it comes with the headset itself, a physical copy of Creed Rise of Glory, a download code, I believe, for Superhot VR, the PlayStation camera, and a pair of Move controllers. Now, I am hoping that this box actually contains the newer version of the PlayStation VR headset. I'm not actually 100% sure, but the newer version actually has some holders for your earbuds, as well as a little breakout box that actually supports HDMI 2.0, which allows you to pass HDR through if you're plugging it into a PlayStation 4, which I am, and not have to unhook everything every time you want to play in 4K. I'm also going to be curious to see if these are actually the new Move controllers in the box. The buttons on those are actually a little bit different, and when we look at the bottom, we will know for sure because the new ones have a micro USB charging port, just like the PlayStation 4 controller, as opposed to the mini USB that was on the older model of these. All right, enough yapping. Let's actually open this up. Looks like we've got some sort of sticker on the top of this, and luckily we got a knife. All right, well, apparently we got a couple of boxes in here. I'm not sure how to get these out. Let's go ahead and open this guy first. Okay, so in here it looks like we have got a demo disc of sorts. It says PlayStation VR Demo Disc 2.0. I'm gonna be very curious to check out the games on this. Looks like we've got our download code for Superhot VR, some sort of warranty notice. Here is our copy of Creed Rise to Glory, which I believe is a boxing game. Not 100% sure what this is, but my guess is that it's the stand for the camera. It came with an awesome little PlayStation VR cleaning cloth. That's a nice touch. Yep, more paperwork. Looks like we found the actual camera itself. And over here we've got our Move controllers. I'm gonna guess this box has got the main event in it. Just slide this thing off. Really nice packaging. Looks like this is some sort of setup guide right here. Pretty cool. This looks like it might be all of our cabling. Yet more paperwork. Looks like that breakout box I was talking about. A power supply. Well, that's cool. They actually included some earbuds with some replacement tips, I guess, for different sized ears. An HDMI cable. Looks like a USB Type A to micro USB cord. Really dig that all of these are individually numbered. Another power cord. And we finally get to the headset itself. So there you go. Looks like there's some buttons and knobs. Just take a quick look around this thing. I think this may be the newer version with the little earbud holders right here. Looks like it's got another cable coming off of it. And there is the lenses from the other side. All right, I think that's everything in the box. But before I actually start figuring out how to hook all this stuff up, let's go ahead and unbox that aim controller bundle that we were looking at a minute ago. All right, so I actually wanted to pick up one of these aim controllers. Looked like it would be pretty cool to mess around with in VR. But on Black Friday, I actually discovered that this bundle was just a couple of bucks more than buying the controller by itself. And it came with a game, something called Firewall 0 hour, which I believe is kind of a multiplayer shooter of sorts. We'll see if that's any good, but I was mostly interested in this controller right here. I have never actually seen one of these things before, so very curious to see how it works. Looks like they kind of show off some of the buttons and stuff on the back of the box. All right, let's open it up. All right, let's see. Got a cardboard box inside of the cardboard box. I think I just bumped the camera there. Looks like we're supposed to open this up from this side, I'd guess. And apparently there's another cardboard box in that cardboard box. How do you get this thing open? Okay, so here is our physical copy of Firewall 0 hour, the game. I'm guessing we just lift this up. No. Aha. Got some paperwork right here and the actual Move controller itself. Looks like you've got your light ball on the end here. an actual moving trigger, some sort of joystick up here, and it looks like there's a D-pad, another joystick, as well as a couple of buttons down here. Oh wow, more buttons. There's an R button right here, another R1 button right here, a PlayStation button right here, and this, which apparently is a button, I'm just not sure what it does yet. Holy crap, more buttons. Looks like there's an L1 and an L2 right here, as well as a USB connector down here. I wonder if that's how you charge it. Does this thing not take batteries? And totally couldn't tell you what these are down here. So yeah, this thing is much bigger than I thought, but feels really good in the hand. I'm anxious to play around with it. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and hook all of this up and I will be right back. Okay, got everything out of the little plastic baggies. I think originally I was planning on doing all of this off camera, but I thought, hey, somebody out there may be interested in taking a closer look at all of these pieces and how you put the thing together. So let's go ahead and do that. Just as a reminder of everything that came in the bundle outside of the games themselves, of course, we've got an HDMI cable, a USB cable right here, the AC adapter and its cord, the actual PSVR headset, these stereo headphones with little earpieces, the actual apparently processor unit right here, and of course this bundle came with the new style round camera and a pair of PlayStation Move controllers right here. Now, it looks like we got all of the new versions of everything in this bundle, which makes me super happy. You can tell these are actually the revised Move controllers because the button right here is not shiny. And of course, on the bottom, not sure how well that's showing up on camera, is a micro USB port as opposed to the mini USB port, which means you can use the charging cable that came with your DualShock 4 just to charge these things instead of having to dig out your old PlayStation 3 chargers. As far as the actual headset itself goes, you can tell that this is the new version because there's actually these little holders here for the earbuds on both sides. That's apparently a new thing, and it's got a super long cable coming off of it. Apparently the old version of this had kind of like a separate extension cable you could put in, but it's all just one long cable here. As I recall, also the actual button that slides the headset in and out has been relocated to the top right here. I think it was on the bottom in the older model. I'm not 100% sure if there are any other differences. Those are just the ones I found when I was looking online. Other than, oh, I think the old version of this actually had like a breakout cable in line that had like your volume up and down buttons for your earbuds. And I am not 100% sure on this one how you actually do that. I guess we'll figure that out once we actually hook it up. Okay, so following the manual, it looks like we want to hook the earbuds in first. Looks like to do that, there's a little snappy thing right here that goes down in the bottom somewhere. Oh, okay, I see. So the actual input is right here. Plug that in right here. And then this thing snaps in as well. It looks like just as a holder. Ah, okay, so that's kind of part of the new revised design. That's actually pretty cool. And then I think these actually snap in here somehow. Yeah, okay, so I guess that's not how you play with it. Maybe this just holds them there in between gaming sessions, and then you just kind of pop them down and put them in your ears. Okay, on to the next page. Okay, looks like this next page is just telling us to make sure our TV's turned off before we do any of this. And then the next page is telling us how to kind of wire in this processing unit. It's got several connections on it. Quite a bit more than I figured. Looks like we've got a power connection right here, a micro USB, an HDMI that runs to the PS4. Here's another HDMI port that runs to the TV. And then on the front here, it looks like we've got yet another HDMI port, as well as what I'm guessing is some sort of proprietary port. Maybe not, we'll see. Probably where you hook the headset in. But yeah, there's a whole lot of I/O crammed into this little box. Okay, so next up, it's just letting us know that the PlayStation camera apparently doesn't plug into this box at all. It just plugs directly into your PlayStation. Man, I'm gonna run out of USB ports at the rate we're going. Okay, so basically it looks like you take the HDMI cable that already is running from your PlayStation 4 to your television, and you take that out and plug that into the HDMI TV port right here. Then you take the included HDMI cable and plug that into this HDMI PS4 port right here, and then actually plug that into the back of your PS4. Then from there, it looks like you take this micro USB cable that came with the PSVR and plug that into the box, and then chew up yet another USB port on your PS4. Now it looks like we're moving on to the power supply here. So it looks like this cable plugs in to the end of this, plug this into the breakout box, and then this guy into the wall. And then finally, we plug the headset itself into the front of the processing unit. Looks like that's what this weird proprietary cable is for right here. So 2 connections right there, and wow, look at all those wires. So now that I'm looking at this, it does seem like that's another difference from the old processing unit. I recall seeing videos, and on my brother's, there was something where you kind of slid something back, put your cables in, and then slid it forward. That does not appear to be a thing on this box at all. And of course, one of the cool things about this box is if you have a 4K TV that does HDR, you can actually pass that through from your PlayStation 4 Pro into that HDR compatible TV. Whereas before, you basically had to unhook all of this because it did not support HDMI 2.0, which I can imagine it got pretty annoying, but from what I've read, we're not gonna have to worry about that at all with this new box. Well, I suppose at this point, all that's left is for me to actually hook it up to the TV and turn everything on. So let me do that and I will be right back. Okay, so went ahead and got everything connected up to my PlayStation 4 Pro. Wanted to give you guys some quick impressions of the final stages of the setup. First up, it was much easier than I initially thought and actually ended up using less USB ports than I was afraid it would. Turns out that the PlayStation camera actually connects up to a proprietary port on the back of the Pro. I suspect that it's always been that way. I just never hooked one of these cameras up before. So turns out that the entire PSVR setup actually only chews up 1 additional USB port, which left me with 2 free on the front, which is fantastic because I've actually got both of the Move controllers charging off of those right now. Next up, I wanted to check out the breakout box, make sure it wasn't doing anything screwy with my UHD, and it turns out everything is working fine. Hopped on into the settings menu and discovered that everything was still running in 2160p with HDR enabled, which is great. That was kind of the real big bummer for PS4 Pro owners. With the prior model, you essentially had to unhook the entire breakout box, get it out of your chain just to go back to doing 2160p with HDR, but no more. I also was a little bit worried that I was going to have some problems with the camera in my small little game room here. Turns out everything worked just fine. The PlayStation camera actually has a substantially wider field of view than I thought it would, and while going through the camera setup, I actually discovered that I could sit much closer to my desk than I previously thought I'd be able to, which is great. The camera can actually see both the headset and the Move controllers from pretty close up, and I've got plenty of room to roll my chair back and find a comfortable spot to play. The built-in earbud holders on the side actually are in a really good spot. I found even with the headset on, it's very easy to find them, kind of pull them out, pop them in your ear, and it turns out it is super awesome to put them back in the sides of the headset when you're not playing, which is great for avoiding a bunch of tangled cables. The little setup wizard that popped up was super helpful, walked you through getting everything calibrated, as well as showed me step by step how to actually put the headset on and get it all adjusted. And I really appreciated the little details, such as it knowing that the slider button for the front of the headset was on the top of my unit as opposed to being on the bottom like on the older model. Now, I've only had this thing hooked up for about half an hour at this point, so I haven't really had a chance to check a whole lot of stuff out. Still gotta let those Move controllers charge, but I bought several VR games I'm anxious to check out, and I went ahead and booted up Thumper, which is a game that I've actually played quite a bit of on my Xbox One X, but never in VR, and let me tell you, this is the best way to play that game. It is so cool. You can look down on your little ship, look around everywhere. The effect is very, very impressive, and I haven't hurled once yet, although boy, did this thing do a number on my hair, let me tell you. So yeah, as far as first impressions go, really enjoying this thing. I've kind of been curious about these VR setups for quite a while. My wife actually for about the last year has been begging me to pick one of these things up. But you know, I started doing the research and got very, very confused. Couldn't decide between a Vive or an Oculus Rift or the PlayStation VR. But since my brother let me play with his PSVR over the holidays, I immediately was like, you know what? I've got to get one of those. It is the cheapest way to get into VR. I had an absolute blast. I wasn't exactly sure what I was expecting when I strapped a VR headset on for the first time, but definitely not what I got with this. This was so much cooler than I thought VR was going to be. So now I have one. I've got a whole bunch of games. Super anxious to actually sit down and play some of them. And who knows, maybe I'll come back soon with some impressions videos of some of the awesome VR games I just picked up. But for now, I'm anxious to wrap this video up and start playing some games. So if you've made it this far in the video, just wanted to say thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Wanted to give a special shout out to each and every one of my subscribers here on YouTube. You guys rock. If you like this video, hey, maybe give it a thumbs up. And if you're not currently subscribed, I would love to encourage you to poke around, check out some of my other videos. And if you like the type of content that I put together for you guys, maybe consider subscribing. It is totally free for you and it helps this guy out quite a bit. If you like watching people play video games, I stream right here on YouTube as well as on Twitch and Mixer all at the same time. So pick your platform of choice, and if I haven't forgotten again, hopefully my links are down here at the bottom of the screen. Once again, my name is Daniel Day. Thanks so much for watching, and hopefully I will catch each and every one of you in the next one.